Hello and welcome to Grandstand Hockey. Thanks for your company. I'm Martin Cudahy, and joining me, our experts commentator Andrew McDonald. Macca, grand final day, Northwest Grads, Derwent. I'm excited.
Good afternoon, Martin. Yes, I'm excited as well. Should be a fantastic game today. Grand final, the pinnacle, the last game. The winner takes all today, and Derwent going for 3 in a row. Absolutely amazing feat to be able to be in that position, and Northwest Grads at the moment stands in the way.
That's right. Now, last week I actually brought up a statistic for you and showed how these teams have gone head-to-head during the season, and I actually got pretty well burnt. But today, Macca, it's a whole different story. Grand final means something completely different.
Well, that's right. I was actually hoping that you would come up with some stats for me today, because I would have said to you that's a low rubbish. But look, it's going to be good. It's going to be great to see Derwent, as I said, pushing ahead today, and they've got some fantastic players. Northwest Grads, some good form last week. So today, really, it's going to be a close game.
Now, these two teams met a couple of weeks ago in the first round of the finals. Let's take a look at how they line up this afternoon. This is the Derwent lineup, and as we know, they've got some firepower with Jeffrey Cock, Tim Deaven, those sorts of guys.
Well, they do, and Alistair Addison had an injury problem throughout the year. Stuart Webb, he'll be really tested at the back today, and the younger player, Billy Shaw and Dougal Middleton, and in some regards, James Newbold. Will they be tested today by Northwest Grads? I reckon they'll have a real crack at those players.
And as far as Northwest Grads are concerned, you'd expect guys like Richardson and Headlam and those sorts of guys to stand up?
Well, I think you're nail on the head there, mate. It's good to see you've learned so much about hockey. Richard Headlam, I've got no doubt that today he has to play really well today, because he's a key ingredient last week for them to do well. Nick Budgeon as well. We always talk about Richardson, we always talk about Lucas, but really I think it's the underpinning players today that are the ones that have to step up in order for them to win a premiership.
And do you think, Macca, that today Northwest Grads will come out and perhaps try and out-muscle Derwent?
Oh, look, I think that's probably the case. I'm pretty sure that Nick Tremaine, every time he gets the ball, he's going to have 2 or 3 players right all over him. And Nick Budgeon, well, we know, we call him Stone Cold Steve Austin because he's got big muscles. Well, I would have thought today he'll be using him against Fitzpatrick when he's flicking the ball. So should be a fantastic contest.
Absolutely. Let's get down now to the sideline and have a chat to Angie Ockenden.
Yes, hello, and what a fantastic day it is. Look, the weather is, although it's still windy and blustery, it's pretty warm and pretty good conditions other than the odd wind blustering across the pitch here. The crowd is fantastic. There's been moving in here all day. They're here to watch this game, and what a beaut game it's going to be. Northwest and Derwent never disappoint when they come out here. It's going to be fiery. It's going to be on. Neither team is going to take any prisoners. I just can't wait for it. It's going to be great. Look, talking to before the game, I ran into Marty Bissett, who is a great Tasmanian player, played for Northwest for many years, and I chatted to him about the game, and he seemed to think that Northwest could win this game if they're patient, if they do the things that they do well and do it patiently and not rush towards goal too quickly. He's angling towards Northwest. Of course, there's a little bit of personal wish there, but I don't know. I think Derwent really are too strong across the park, and I think they're going to win today, but gee, it's going to be close, and gee, it's going to be a great game.
Thanks very much, Ange. Well, there you have it. She's put her money on the line. She's going with Derwent. Macca, what do you reckon?
Well, she's got plenty of money, and that's okay. It's good for her to put a bit of a wager on. But look, at this stage, I think that Derwent probably would have the odds in their favour. There's no doubt about that. I think probably the good thing about the game is that we had Northwest Grads play some quality hockey in the preliminary final. And so, as we've said in the intro, that if people like James Burke, if people like Richard Headlam can play at their best, well, I think we're in for a very entertaining game. I know you're going to ask me, so I'm going to say it anyway. At this stage, I'm tipping Derwent by 2 goals.
Well, there you have it. Joining us in commentary this afternoon also is former national player Zane Wright. Zane, thanks for your company.
G'day, Martin.
Who are you tipping?
Well, I'm sort of going along the same lines as Macca. I think that Derwent have shown the form all year, but I definitely wouldn't be writing off Northwest at this stage. I was in the coaching group with OHA last week when we played Northwest, and they certainly gave us a bit of a touch-up, certainly in that second half, and they displayed the opportunities and the skills that they do have within this group to make them a very good team.
Well, I'm going to go against the pair of you and against Angie and say Northwest Grads. I've got a feeling in my bones. I just reckon they'll come out and they'll muscle up, and
I'm looking forward to seeing you in the bar after the game, Martin.
Well, there you have it. I've put my money where my mouth is. I think I'm in all sorts of trouble, but that remains to be seen, as both Derwent and Northwest Grads have yet to start the grand final, the men's hockey competition, Hockey South, here at the Tasmanian Hockey Centre. Something we're all looking forward to up here. There's Jeffrey Cock, leading goal scorer this season. He gets us underway. Toss straight away from Luke Austin to get us underway.
Good to see, Martin. We've got two very good umpires. We've got Sean Carey and Oliver Close, both very experienced umpires, and I think you'll find that they'll have little, if any, impact on the game. And I think that's the good thing about umpiring. When you get it right, it has little impact.
Well done there from straight away from Northwest Grads. They're on the attack, streaming forward here. And he's been brought down inside the circle, and that will be a penalty corner, I think.
Well, fantastic strength from Warren Lucas, and I think that's a good sign for Northwest Grads in that normally Warren Lucas gets the ball deep, but here he's got the ball in the front half and he's really protecting the ball, and you can see Luke Austin just makes a bit of body contact, gets sort of a bit of a messy tackle because he's almost behind him, but Warren Lucas uses all of his experience there, uses his full body to protect it, and in the end earns a penalty corner.
So good signs early on from Northwest Grads. Their intention was clear. It was a good little flick pass to unleash Warren Lucas there. I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, he's got some real quality about him, Warren Lucas, and you know, he gets himself into the right position. Massive opportunity here for Northwest Grads.
So Richardson to bring it in, and we've had a player break from Derwent, so they're pretty keen to get out there. It's Greg Bent who broke for Derwent. I don't blame him wanting to get out there and shut this down. You wouldn't want to go a goal down this early on. Not even 2 minutes gone. Richardson sends it out. It's a poor though. So Budgeon will pick it up and tap it on over there for Park. Park gets inside the circle, but he has it stolen in the end. So well done there from Tim Deaven to get it away. So
yeah, it's almost as if, Martin, when they were flinging the ball out from the baseline, Marcus Richardson's stick got stuck in the dry turf, and that sometimes happens because just where they fling the ball out from, it gets stuck. But play goes on.
We saw earlier when they were watering the pitch that the wind was actually blowing the water off the pitch, so maybe there is a dry patch up there.
Yes, I like the term that you use, actually, the irrigation, when they irrigate the pitch. I've never seen turf grow, Martin, but still, I think they should irrigate it more often.
So do I. Thanks very much for bringing that up. And mow it too.
James Peters, you have to play a big role today at right half. He needs to get forward as often as possible.
So they'll be happy to let this one go into the goal. And Northwest Grads will get to restart things. That's considered out over the back line pretty much.
City, do you think we'll see Derwent sort of press really aggressively in the first half?
I think we will, and you know, from the outset, Derwent tossed the ball straight off the pass back straight into the corner, and I think that's a fair indication that they're looking to put Northwest under the pressure from the back, and I think that's a real area that they'll try and hammer them with, and try and probably keep the ball at with Tim Stevens at the back there, try and make him hit long and create some turnovers in the midfield.
Good crowd in here today, gents. Great crowd.
Very good crowd.
Grand final time, 0-0. 5 minutes played.
Surprised to see Tremaine go so far back. Centre half. They're playing with the back three at the moment, Derwent. So you can see they're outletting with 3 players at the back rather than 4.
It's picked up in midfield though, that time by Florence. Florence centred onto Pete Stevens, rather. Austin with it now for Derwent though. Turnover. He uses Deaven. He heard the call Devo. He couldn't quite get there, but he's won the free. So ball sent wide by Tremaine. Then long by Middleton.
I think the other thing, Martin, we probably forget about Nick Tremaine is that he's had massive back problems throughout the year and been pretty much prevented from training at all midweek because of his back. And to be able to retain his fitness and still be a capable leader for them in the middle of the pitch, it's a true sign of his courage, because I know firsthand how hard he's had to work with his back, and it's great to see him playing the grand final and a chance to be part of Derwent winning 3 in a row.
That's right, they're going for the 3-peat today. Not many teams have achieved that.
Northwest Grads did it, I think, a few years back, but before that, it was some while before it happened.
There's Toby West from Northwest Grads. So Stuart Webb restarting things, sends it wide. Over there is Newbold. He uses Tremaine.
Good roll off. Well, Billy Shaw, maybe a bit of nerves there, Eddie.
Yeah, he's a young player, Macca, and but he's been consistent this year, and as you full well know, he played with the Tigers this year, so he's definitely got a bit of ability about him.
Jacobson sends it forward. He was looking for Florence. It's gone on. It'll be Richardson who picks it up, though. It's not Richardson, actually.
Well, I like the signs I've seen so far about Marcus Richardson. He's involved in the play, he's possessing the ball, he looks as if he's quite composed. It's a good sign.
So it is Richardson who takes it inside the circle. Combining well there with Toby West.
He's looking for the penalty corner. Wasn't given by umpire Close.
Richardson gets in front, doesn't quite manage to control it. So West to bring it back in. He's got an option backwards in Florence. He ends up using Richardson. That's Richardson there. He uses West. West inside the circle. Cleared away though by Webb for Derwent.
Yeah, it wasn't done all that well though, Martin.
Wasn't clean.
No, a bit untidy. A few nerves just sort of creeping into the defensive structures of Derwent, potentially. They've already conceded a penalty corner. And at this point in time, you'd have to say that Northwest Grads are on top.
6 free hits to 1. So Nick Budgeon gets things back underway. It's inside. Shots on the reverse, but a great save there. And a nice little clearing effort there from Billy Shaw as well to get it out. So Middleton now for Derwent gets it, attempts to send it down the pitch. It's picked up by Park midfield. He sends it long. In there is Richardson. He keeps it in play. Does well.
Great skill. The ability to be able to control the ball there and get it off the ground. I'll tell you what, we're seeing some quality hockey at the moment. Good opportunity here from Toby West. The ability to be able to make the trap and on his reverse going in the wrong direction, but Nathan Fitzpatrick well and truly up to it.
It was a good save. There's toss there, relieving a bit of pressure by Stuart Webb for Derwent. So picking it up at the back.
Good work from Bent. Good pressure.
Budgeon with an attempted toss. Doesn't go anywhere. Goes along the ground. Picked up by Jacobson. Jacobson uses his body. Attempts to put Tremaine off balance. That's Austin there. What do you reckon, Zane?
Yeah, it's pretty tight at the moment, but Northwest have had those couple of early opportunities and so far their midfield and their strikers haven't really had a touch, so I'm sure from Northwest point of view they're pretty happy with that, their defensives anyway. But I don't think it'll be long before we see the likes of Devon and Tremaine getting involved with Austin.
Well, that was a good sign, I reckon, for Northwest Grads then, because Tim Stevens actually went on a searching pass a long way forward, and I think the benefit of doing that is that it keeps the Derwent defence really tight, and it makes them a bit more wary, and so they're not so proactive coming forward. And I reckon that might create some chances for Northwest Grads if they continue with that long look.
So Northwest Grads looking to rebuild. They're over the centre line. Budgeon got a bit of retention there.
Oh, he's got to be careful taking on Greg Bent. Greg Bent is a very good tackler. He knows how to hassle. He's probably a fraction unlucky there.
That's Budgeon there. He may have had his hair done.
Well, I think he was a bit uncertain as well. May well have had his hair done, but he was certainly uncertain.
Loosely inside, and then a real attempt there. The ball was going to be knocked back for Jacobson, and he would have had an open goal, but Fitzpatrick did well.
Well, this is a bit of a surprise. We see the supporters out there. They've got the yellow cards. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe they're trying to encourage umpire Ollie Close to send someone to the rest area. But unfortunately, didn't quite get it to Jacobson. But Richardson's really having a big say already in this game. Second penalty corner for Northwest Grads.
And he looked good last week, Richardson. It was the best we'd seen him play in a while, Macca.
Well, I think they're probably at where they're playing at the moment. I think they're probably happy with their form to date. I'm sure Coach Steve McMullen would be happy with the start.
So Richardson descended in for Northwest Grads. And another break. This time it's Bent. Actually, again it's Bent.
Yeah, well, it's not uncommon because teams do it sometimes just to try and break the rhythm of the attacking team, plus they're trying to work out what variation they might employ. It's used a lot internationally.
Richardson sends it out. It's going to be taken by Budgeon, and a great save by Fitzpatrick. He got a hand to it. That's marvellous stuff. Ball's still alive, though. Richardson sends it back in, and there's the goal for Northwest Grads. They're up 1-0.
Well, and isn't it a fantastic save? I was about to say, when the first save was taken by Fitzpatrick, I don't reckon he had any idea where the ball was. It was almost as if he was just fishing. Oh, bang, there it is. I didn't even know where it was, but I have saved it, have I? Yeah, there it is. And then there's Budgeon, but great depth. You've got Richardson in the right position, and then I think it's Headlam in the end who makes the deflection goal, and the ball gets passed along the baseline. Richardson really composed. He knows he's got someone there, and there's Richard Headlam in the right position at the right time. So immediately, already, he's had a big impact in the game, in the grand final game.
That's exactly when you want to have an impact, if not anywhere else during the season. West looks to go the hard way through a couple of players. It's always better to go round, I've found.
And we shouldn't forget, Martin, that Derwent are running into the wind. And maybe that's having a bit of an impact. And it's almost gale force winds at this point in time, and Derwent is attacking directly into that.
And here comes Jeffrey Cock, the man who scored more goals than anyone else this season. He gets the shot away.
Well, he nearly
added
added
to the side of the net, though.
Yeah, he nearly added one to his repertoire there. Good right to left drag. Takes the ball on his left-hand side and then dives. He knows he has to dive in order to get the angle so he can hit the ball at the net, because the keeper was coming out to try and close it down. Good work from McGregor.
So there you have it. It's 1-0, but the first penetration for Derwent sees a shot away by Jeffrey Cock, the most dangerous man in this competition, as we see Middleton attempting to pirouette and get himself inside the circle. He gets the free instead. Next best result, it'll be taken by Billy Shaw. Shaw plays it short. Bent's there as well. Ball comes out. What do you reckon, Zane?
Yeah, good defence there by Northwest. They didn't rush in, and I thought Devon there probably would have possessed the ball a little bit longer and tried to draw the defender to him to create a free hit and force that penalty corner. But
oh dear, and that's a bad miss from Stewie Webb. Picked up by Fitzpatrick though, the keeper. So Webb just winds up in the end and lets it unleash downfield. Picked up by Budgeon. He's streaming forward. He's got a player out wide. He uses him. It's Lucas. Lucas gets inside the circle. Headlam was over there as well.
Well, James Newbold pulled off a pretty big tackle then, because it was Richard Headlam, who has had some reasonable form over the last sort of couple of weeks. And just there, he's looking to try and find the foot to force a penalty corner. Not able to do so. James Newbold needed to have a polished tackle then and did so.
So defended well. Northwest Grads again goes just inside the top of the circle. No one home. So let off.
Well, Northwest Grads at the moment are full of run. You know, that former play where we saw Budgeon running forward with Lucas in support, it's good signs for them at the moment.
Nice turn from Greg Bent. Budgeon attempted to tackle him. Good play though. It's inside the circle now. Trouble here. It's Jeffrey Cock, but the ball's been stripped from him by Tim Stevens. He gets the free though.
Yeah, quality build-up, because what they did is they took the free hit really quickly, and the play earlier than that was what set this play up. But Jeffrey Cock, he's got really good composure about him there. He knew he was a one-on-one with Tim Stevens, and all he did was wait for his feet to be exposed, found them, and then earned a penalty corner.
So accurate, so tight in there.
I think that could be a key for Derwent, Macca, is that when they go forward with pace, they are very quick and try and catch the Northwest defence off guard. They're not the quickest defence in the competition, so that could be a real strategy for Derwent.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's about the Derwent strikers having really good composure about them, and that's what we just saw with Jeffrey Cox. So hopefully he now can convert this opportunity.
So Nick Tremaine sends it in. Trapped well. Jeffrey Cock it is. I think it may have hit someone before coming off the woodwork by the sounds of things.
Well run down. That's probably the major focus, I would have thought, for Northwest Grads throughout the week, was to make sure that they had someone running straight down the line, and I think it was Marcus Richardson of all people.
It was.
Not quite sure that I'd want him to be doing that role, but at least he is pretty toey off the line, and he did a great job.
There's Stuart Webb, one of these key defensive players for Northwest Grads. Wasn't Webb at all, actually. That was Stevens. What am I talking about? So Northwest Grads in midfield. It'll be picked up by Billy Shaw for Derwent though. He goes short, uses Austin. Austin moves it on quickly, straight away to Bent, to Devon rather. Devon going forward. He can get inside the circle. He turns it back nicely. Shots away there though. He's saved, defended well by McGregor.
Devon having a bit of an impact. You can just sort of sense that Derwent have picked up and they're claiming a penalty corner. Here's the play, and might well be that we can pick it up, and it's off the foot, I think it is, of Budgeon just there, and the tackle on Devon as well. And that's reckless. Yeah, it was called actually by the other umpire at the other end. It was Ollie Close. Sean Carey was unsighted because of the angle, but the good umpiring between the two of them, they just checked, and Ollie Close signalled a penalty corner, and that's the reason why Derwent have been awarded penalty corner opportunity.
So McGregor with all the work to do. You just saw him there. That's Tremaine. He'll send it in for Derwent, their second penalty corner.
I suspect on this one that Tremaine might actually try and get them to break a little bit more, so that Richardson doesn't get as close to Jeffrey Cock when he's flicking the ball. So he might actually deliberately try and encroach or bring on a break by just his little knee movement, because he will know that Marcus Richardson got too close on the last penalty corner they had.
We've seen that plenty of times this year, Macca.
Yeah, we have, and I reckon now's the time that they employ it.
Just watch his knee. I think it's his left knee. He just flinches a little bit, Tremaine, when he's lining up just before he sends it out. There it is there.
Yeah, and he's got it. He's got the braking, so he's done it deliberately to try and make sure that Marcus Richardson now will probably be not warned, but he'll be wary now because he knows if he does it again, there's a chance he might get a card, which gives now Jeffrey Cock that fraction more time. Tremaine
to send it in. There it is. It's away clean. Cock to take the shot. But once again, Richardson was there. He was in the way.
I'm not sure that Jeffrey Cock actually got onto that one very well. It seemed to me as if the ball was travelling along the surface. Just here, it was bobbling a little bit and he couldn't quite get onto it, but Marcus Richardson did a great job again. I mean, really, in some regards, the role he's doing at the moment is absolutely ideal because he's getting in the way and stopping the straight shot at the net.
Stopping it, having an influence at both ends. Richardson.
We can see the way that he runs, Mac. He's not actually reaching with his stick. He's going with his body behind the ball as well. So essentially, Cock's got to flick straight through the body rather than flick past the stick, which makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Northwest grads have done their homework and they've worked out that whenever Jeffrey Cock's going to flick, we have to have someone who's got the courage to run down the line. The problem for Northwest grads is if Marcus Richardson gets hits in the knee, he has to go to the sideline because he's been hurt by a ball, well, then they're down a player. But in the end, I'm sure Marcus Richardson would have said, I want that role.
So it's with Budgeon at the back. He spreads it wide, sends it long. Burke was there but couldn't get to it. So restarting things is Newbold. He goes backwards. Headlam is there. Richardson's there and he got to stick to it. Bit dangerous, perhaps.
Well, this is the good sign for Northwest grads. They're playing very aggressively on their press. In the past, they've been guilty against Derwent of being too far sagging away, whereas today, in their mindset, you can see they really want to attack the back defensive park of Derwent, and it's paying dividends at this point.
Nice pick up from Burke. He sent it long, but it's been picked up, intercepted by the Derwent defence. They sent it out of play. So Richardson's over there. So is Lucas.
Long corner. Came off a Derwent defender's stick.
So Lucas it is. Oh, no, it isn't. Richardson sends it to Lucas. Nice little 1-2 there between the two. It's inside the circle now. Shots away. And a great save once again from Fitzpatrick. That's good stuff.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget he's got the sun in his eyes as well.
Jacobson pirouetting on a 5-cent piece there and getting inside the circle.
Yeah, he can be dangerous, Jacobson. You see the desperation there. Deliberate tomahawk, had to dive to make sure that he got the right angle so it went at the net. But I think Nathan Fitzpatrick was well and truly up to that one. Was at a comfortable height.
So that's Luke Austin for Derwent. Winds up, sends it downfield. Ingles was there. Ingles still is there. Got more stick to it than Stevens did.
Okay, looks like a full press now from Derwent. They're really pushing their players forward now to put pressure on Tim Stevens. You can see him, he's saying, well, where are my options?
He's got one very short in Jacobson.
Bit uncertain.
He ends up winding up and going long. Billy Shaw will pick it up, but it's deemed dangerous, I think. So Stevens attempts to go between Ingles and Austin. Picked up by Florence.
Good drag, right to left drag. Very good skill then.
Well done by Burke.
Yeah, it was. He actually took the ball from his right hand all the way to his left hand. Just a single arm movement. That's good skill.
There's Fitzpatrick there. Plenty to do already. As Addison sends it across field. Once again, this Northwest grads. Here we go. Oh.
Stewie Webb, he's having a bit of a rusty day so far. Not the one he would like to have so far in the grand final. He's under the pump most of the time when he gets it at the moment. He's got Marcus Richardson running straight at him. He wouldn't feel too comfortable about that.
Stephen McMullen, you'd think Zane would have given Richardson those instructions.
Definitely, and I think that, it's, as Mac has already said, it's paying dividends at the moment for Northwest. The way that their front three are working, and they are very smart, those front three guys, and who better to do it than Marcus Richardson? He's got a lot of experience, and here he is with the ball now. And he not only works very hard defensively, but also in attack.
So he sends it out wide. A couple of players for Northwest grads looking to see what they can build up there. Gets it inside the circle, but it goes out over the back line. And there's Jacobson there.
And Macca, this is something that Derwent probably aren't that familiar with. They haven't had a lot of pressure like that this season, so for them it's it's obvious they're not really comfortable with the way that Northwest are pressing on them.
Well, the signs aren't too good so far at the moment, I would have thought, for Stewie Webb. He's obviously not coping too well with the full press that's coming in his way on a regular basis so far. And you've got Billy Shaw, who's quite young, and Alistair Addison. He's had a bit more experience, I would have thought, but still, there's no doubt that that's certainly the tone for the pressing unit, if you want to call it, of Northwest grads. They're having a go.
Addison missed a couple of games earlier this season with a knee injury, I think it was, Macca. So,
Yep.
But he looks to be moving around pretty freely out there at the moment. So Northwest grads once again look to move it around nicely.
Richard Headlam trying to get himself involved in the play there, looking to roll off his opponent. But Tim Deaven again was back there doing his defensive work, which is pretty much the norm for Tim Deaven. Works pretty hard defensively as well as he does in the midfield role going forward.
End-to-end play up. Nice move there to get it to Tremaine. In the end, numbers went out for Northwest grads, though. They had 3 players there. They give away the free. And again.
Yeah, looking to take the free hit quickly again, Jeffrey Cock and Nick Tremaine. I think that's a danger for Northwest grads. They have to be mindful of that.
Ball sent long out over the back line.
Well, we've seen that a bit so far, in that Derwin have sent a lot of long balls at in that they just haven't been able to find the target.
Yeah, which is a bit, pardon me, a bit worrying for Derwin, because they're normally quite good at linking from their midfield through to their forward line. So, yeah, worrying signs at the moment for Derwin.
Ball's sent long. It goes out just beyond the centre line for Northwest grads. So Billy Shaw to restart things for Derwin. Goes short, uses Luke Austin. Austin running out of space. Nice little ball back into Ingles. Another good ball to Austin. Austin's got space. Shutting him down is Stevens. And there's the goal. It's a deflection. That's fantastic stuff from Dougal Middleton.
Well, fantastic play from Dougal Middleton. It's absolute, I mean, it's a superb finish, but you've got to give full credit to Luke Austin. And, it seems funny, but prior to this goal being converted, I was thinking to myself that, he's a guy, if he really steps up, he could have a really big say on Derwent winning today, and he's done it just here and there. And, simple little play, involves himself going forward. He probably would have been surprised with the goal being converted, the way that it was hit into the circle in the air rather than flat. It made it so hard for Dougal Middleton, but I don't know how, but he got his stick to it. And poor old Hamish McGregor, some would say that he should have covered that line. Well, geez, I don't know, pretty tough. It was a pretty good shot, Zed.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be a brave man to say that Hamish McGregor should have saved that. I mean, it's one of those shots, as you say, Macca, that you're not really expecting at all. And from that angle, it's to be able to do that just like that is pretty amazing. And I don't think we'll see Dougal doing it again today. But I'm sure he's pretty happy with it coming off just that once.
And here goes Jeffrey Cock inside the circle once again. He's pulled up, but not legally.
Well, here it is. I mean, we see it so often, don't we, with Derwent? They only take the game with them. They just ride the bumps for a while, and then all of a sudden they decide to go bang, and they have a crack at you. And there's the skill of Jeffrey Cock. Again, all he's looking to try and do is force a penalty corner. I'd be surprised if they do exactly the same sort of variation. They might be looking to do something a bit different here because of the way that Marcus Richards has been running out on penalty corners. But at this point in time, Derwent, they're running hot now.
And that's twice now, Macca, that Cox got the ball running into the circle and created penalty corners, and we've spoken about this throughout the season, about his ability now is a lot better and decision making a lot better once he gets in those situations. That's a prime example.
Well, I think he's confident about the Northwest grads defenders as well.
Ball sent in by Tremaine. Jeffrey Cock to take it, and there it is, wide. So really,
is it 0 from 3 penalty corners
from 3,
now? I think it
right.
is, and that's pretty unheard of for Derwent. You would have thought this year. Again, I think the ball took a deflection. But Dougal Middleton clearly was in there for the variation. You can see the desperation from him, number 23. He was right in there looking to try and get that deflection away, but the ball didn't hit the target.
So budging for Northwest grads at 1-1. About 10 minutes to go perhaps in this first half in the grand final of the men's competition. That's Alistair Addison. Miss hit, picked up by Park in midfield. He gets over the 25-yard line, sends it inside, and there was Richardson, who got his stick to it. Now, and again.
So you watch this happening, Martin. It's all at either end. You'd expect to see that in the grand final.
It was a good play here by Park. We saw him break the line. He slipped that pass into Richardson, who was just lurking behind the Stewie Webb, I think it was, and almost had a second chance. But that's the great thing about Marcus Richardson. He has that ability sneaking behind defenders without them knowing where he is.
So Burke got it to Park, but it's been picked up by Austin for Derwent. Now it's intercepted for Northwest grads. Over there is Headlam. Burke got it back to Headlam. Oh, and it's gone across the face of an open goal.
Yeah, quick hands there from Richard Headlam. No one was expecting him to get there. Nathan Fitzpatrick on screen. He has been busy already.
Not happy either. I think he's barking instructions saying shut that down.
Well, you'd be talking about one player, Marcus Richardson in particular, would be saying, I've got a headache already.
So Florence goes short. Working well there. Good work by Park.
Tackle. Good desperation there from Tremaine. Had to get on all fours to make the tackle. We often don't like to see that sometimes in the defensive zones.
So Derwent bringing it out of defence there. Nice work from Billy Shaw. Tried to flick it back on the inside. It's been picked up by Richardson for Northwest Grades. Didn't put enough on that. Tremaine will probably get there and does, but gets the free blown against him. So Jacobson takes it quickly. Ball's inside the circle. Well, not really.
Well, I think there was a lesson just there, Martin, for Billy Shaw, not to be too fancy coming out of defensive zones, especially when you're taking on Marcus Richardson. If you do so and you're over fancy, you'll be in trouble because he'll pick you off, and maybe that's an important lesson for him to learn.
It's Billy Shaw who'll take this. A little bit more conservative this time. Goes to Addison short. Addison's under pressure from Burke. Burke gets the better of it, gets around a couple of players. Addison and Middleton sends it backwards. And now there's no one there for Northwest Grads.
Steve McMullen, the coach. Wonder what he'd be thinking right now. He started off with an early goal. Derwent seemed to be getting back into the game.
Very enjoyable stuff at 1-1 in the grand final. Tossed across field. Shaw's the intended target. Brings it down nicely. Fancy bit of stick work there to get around Jacobson. He unleashes Middleton in midfield.
Good skill from Middleton as well. He let the ball come across his body, then he knew exactly what he was trying to do. He wanted to see Tim Stevens commit. As soon as he did, then he used his body when he was down low. His feet weren't protected.
Addison sends it inside the circle, picked up straight away by Florence, who gets rid of it.
Well, no one was there, Zeddy. They were looking to try and find a Derwent stick, but no one presented themselves.
No, and Northwest are setting a lot of players behind the ball in that situation. We see here that Dougal Middleton once again with the ball. And he's doing quite well at the moment, Mac. These last 5 or 10 minutes, Dougal Middleton, he's been composed when he's been in that situation up front, and he hasn't given the ball away easily.
Addison again for Derwent. Doesn't quite go inside the circle. Shaw gets a shot away from outside the circle.
Yeah, came off Michael Park's stick. It was an initial pass from Billy Shaw, and he made the play dangerous, and that's what Sean Carey's blown. So free, attacking circle free hit now for Derwent. Here's an opportunity for them to employ a set play. Here it comes.
Addison unleashes, sends it long, but caught the deflection and will go out.
We can see that at Northwest they set up a screen of 4 players all in a row, which basically saying to Derwent, you know, if you're going to come through here, you're coming through flat sticks. So I think it is a key point, Macca, that Derwent need to start to mix things up when they're outside the circle, shift the direction of play, either transfer it across the top of the circle just to try and break the lines of the Northwest defence.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the tactic of the penalty corners, running out on penalty corners, has dampened Derwent's sort of thought processes about trying to earn penalty corners. Maybe now they're trying to get more deflections away. And I think they should be sticking with trying to get penalty corners.
Peters sends it long, sends it high and long, and not effective though. Addison to pick things up for Derwent. He finds Jeffrey Cock. Jeffrey Cock shows good strength there to keep his balance. Good skill too.
Yeah, he wanted advantage there. Wasn't coming. They've got numbers here, Derwent.
Here's Tremaine on the burst. He's coming forward. He's inside the attacking 25. It's in the circle now. Shot can be on the reverse. The shot will be away by Shaw, and it's across the face of goal. So McGregor.
Well, there's a poor tackle from Michael Park which enabled that play. He was in the middle. He's the one who's just been eliminated. Look, there's no chasing back from Michael Park, and you just can't do that against Derwent, and in particular against Nick Tremaine, because it sets up these sorts of opportunities for Derwent. So I'm pretty sure Steve McMullen will make note of that, and he'll be talking to Michael Park at half-time saying, listen, lad, if you want to stay on the pitch, don't do that again.
You know who was lurking in the mouth of goal too was Middleton after scoring that freakish thing before.
That's right.
Got his tail up, might be able to do it again, Zane.
Well, he's certainly displayed so far that he's got the ability to do that sort of thing, and he has had quite a bit of an impact. And it's interesting to see from Derwent's point of view, they've slipped Luke Austin back into defence onto Marcus Richardson, so they're trying to close him down.
I think Stewie Webb's also gone off the pitch for Derwent, so maybe his injury is still sort of lurking, causing him some issues.
I'm not sure who's come on yet. I think it might be Ingles. Actually, Ingles started, so... There's Tim Deven anyway. Western Ferris last weekend. Ball's loose. It's inside. The shot can be away on the reverse.
Poor marking from Derwent. They're under pressure here.
Toby West it was who had an opportunity there.
Well, I think it was Billy Shaw again who had the job of marking Toby West, but he just got blindsided for a fraction of a second and then gave Toby the yard he needed.
West is again lurking. Billy Shaw picks him up now, though. So Lucas to bring it back in. Lucas sends it in one side and out the other of the circle.
Well, evenly balanced game so far. It's been quite interesting. There's no doubt it's going to be a bit tighter than what some people would have thought beforehand. I heard one person in particular who suggested that Derwent might win by 5 goals. He'll remain anonymous until they actually do. I tell you what, it's pretty tight.
James Burke picks it up just inside the circle. And there's a graphic showing that possession is pretty much even. Derwent with a slight advantage.
Well, Stuart Webb's just come back onto the pitch, so he's obviously been taken off for a quick word by Coach Glenn Freeman just to try and reassess where they're at or just to get some treatment on his injury. But they'll be needing him to step up. And we see here, good ball by Austin trying to get Middleton Cock this time away. But I think that's pushed Luke Austin back into the midfield with Stuart Webb coming on.
Well, we see with Northwest Grad 16 penetrations to Derwent 9, so whilst it might be relatively even with possession, there's no doubt at the moment who's on top inside the attacking 25s. Northwest Grads.
Nice work there from West to flick it through. No one was home for him, no. There's Fitzpatrick, had a bit to do, let one in, saved plenty more. Tremaine.
The pressure too from 2 players there. He's got both Headlam and Michael Park went to him as soon as he got the ball.
That's Newbold over there. That's not, yeah, that is Newbold.
Yeah, the idea is to run with your stick, but free hit earlier than that, awarded to him.
Tremaine goes backwards, goes to Addison. He brings it over the centre line. Got his head up, looking at his options. Austin attempted to turn before he got it. Burke sent it long, and it'll go out over the back line at the other end of the pitch. That's Burke there.
Yeah, well, see, this is where I reckon Northwest Grads made an error just then, because they should have been a bit more aggressive and in front of Nick Tremaine. They sagged too far back initially, and now it's caused some problems for them.
Now Tremaine does well, gets around Nick Budge, and he's going to cross inside the attacking 25, gets it there inside the circle, and the ball is loose in front of goal, but enough Northwest, yeah, Peter saved that, enough players back there.
Well, it was good work from Jeffrey Cock. He was on his knees, basically, and great little vision there from Nick Tremaine. He was trying to find Jeffrey Cock. He'd ghosted away. There was the shot, but James Peters, on the last line, the last man in defence, he made sure he got in the way of it and cleared the possession.
May yet prove to be a match winner. That remains to be seen. 3 minutes to play in the second half.
And Macca, I think this could be an interesting battle, that one in the middle with Tremaine and Michael Park. You spoke just before how Parky had given Nick a little bit of space there. I think that could be a key coming later in the game. With Nick's, he's quite a fit bloke and can run the game out pretty well. He might find some space later on.
Well, that'll be interesting to see, I reckon, Zeddy, because as we said, he has had some injuries throughout the year, and this will be a good measure as to where he's at from his fitness point of view. And Michael Park, I mean, what he might lack in fitness, he certainly makes up for with his enthusiasm and his vigour, doesn't he? So, be interesting.
Robust little player too. People bounce off him.
He is.
Tremaine again. A couple of players looking to shut him down. They couldn't get there though. Intended target was Middleton. He gets the free. Sends it long straight away. Ingles is there.
I'm not sure that he needed to trap that one, Benny Florence, but it's better to be safe than unsure. He's got the free hit anyway. He's asking for some composure from the rest of his team. He's no doubt aware of the clock and how long's to go.
There's Florence and Austin. So Stevens that time, sending it long. That's Webb, his opposite number at the other end of the pitch. Nice little turn again from Tremaine. Sends it long, it's with Cock inside the attacking circle. He couldn't get the shot away, but he's got the next best result.
Yeah, and he was looking for a stroke too. He thought that he had possession and was impeded deliberately. But umpire Sean Carey said, no, I'm not having that. I'll give you a penalty corner. But good composure, and this is the danger sign for North West Grads if they're able to find Jeffrey Cock in that sort of space. And good work from Hamish McGregor. Came off his line, and you can see him there signalling, I want a strike, thanks, umpire Sean Carey. He says, no, none of that. Give you a penalty corner.
That's twice in the last 2 minutes we've seen Nick Tremaine turn his opponent inside out there and make that searching pass forward to Jeffrey Cock. And I think that, you know, that's a strength for Derwent, but something that Northwest will really have to pay attention to.
Well, I think you're spot on, because the link there is between Nick Tremaine and Jeffrey Cock. In particular, that's one they've got to make sure they shut down.
Tremaine, the man to send this in for Derwent. In it comes. Trapped there. Shots away by...
Good save.
Shots away by Cock, but that was a great save. Well done by McGregor.
Yeah, he got to that one. It was just a fraction close to his glove height, and there it is. And good work from Hamish McGregor. He was well sighted on that one, I think. And
that's half time.
Got his left glove up nice and high.
So 1-1 after 35 minutes of hockey in the grand final. I think that's sort of when Northwest Grads had the better of it initially, and then Derwent started to play some hockey.
Well, I think at this stage my messages for Northwest Grads would probably be three. One, I think they need to be careful if they're tackling inside the defensive circle. I mean, if Jeffrey Cock's going to be getting the ball, firstly, we shouldn't be allowing him to get it, but if we do, we need to make sure we've got quality tackling. Secondly, from the press point of view, don't sag. You know, you're better off putting real pressure on Stewie Webb, put some pressure on their deep defence as much as you possibly can. And then I think the marking role, as you alluded to before, Zeddy, about making sure they put some pressure on Nick Tremaine in the middle, make sure they mark Jeffrey Cock, those sorts of players. But for Derwent, the message to them would probably be that at times I thought they were a fraction a bit long. I mean, we haven't seen Deven had much of an impact at all in the game, which is sort of not surprising in some regards, because we know he sort of pops up in the game and then he goes out, but really he needs to have a bit more of an impact in the game. And I don't know that Stewie Webb in particular is coping too well with the press from Northwest Grads. And as I said, I'm a bit worried about the form of both Jeffrey Cock and Tim Deven at this point in the first half.
Well, Northwest Grads have gone up the race. They've disappeared into the sheds, so they obviously don't want anything broadcast at this stage about their plans for the second half. Stephen McMullen's taking them inside the Batcave. As for Derwent, they're doing things by the book, as they would normally do. And let's have a look at some statistics from half-time. As we mentioned, score 1-1, Derwent slightly more possession.
Well, I think the thing that's very interesting there is the penalty corners. When you look at it, I mean, Derwent, 0 from 4, that's unusual, and that would be a sign that would cause them some alarm, especially in a grand final. And, you know, you look at the shots on goal, relatively even. I mean, Derwent just started to increase that sort of trend, if you want to call it. But I tell you what, she's a close game, and, you know, it's at this point in time, it's still hard to say as to who it is that is more favourite to come on top.
And this was the first goal of the afternoon. It was Headlam's goal. Richardson got it across. Headlam was down on his haunches to score that one. It was good stuff from Northwest Grads early on.
Yeah, Nick Tremaine will probably dirt himself on that one, because he's seen the ball go across the baseline. That's probably a role that he normally would have. Here's Luke Austin. He's the player who really was responsible for this sort of creation of this goal. But the finish, no doubt who was the man in control there. That was Dougal Middleton. In between the hair somewhere was a stick. And there it is, got the great little deflection. He did well.
Let's have a listen now to Glenn Freeman down in the Derwent huddle.
So the inside forwards and the centre half, okay, you guys have got to work a bit closer together, okay, to make sure we've got that triangle formed in the middle. So we get the ball and draw them to us and then throw the ball, okay? Draw them to us, then throw the ball. That's what we've got to do. Defensively, we know in that first 15 minutes it was terrible, okay? We were ball watching. You started to get yourself into some sort of pattern. But again, guys, I'm not happy with it, and I don't think you should be happy with it either. Okay? Remember, the focus is get the talking going. Fitchy, get that talking going up, mate. Set yourselves up. Okay? Set yourselves up around the park. We know where they're going to attack through. Okay? We know what to do on the turnover. And that's it. Get out of the ball watching mode. Now listen, we have trained for this last 35 minutes. Just think about those
Here we
Hellish
have it,
Tuesday
35
night
minutes to
we've had
go
for
until
about
full
15
time. Glenn Freeman talking about he wants plenty of talk out there, and he wants his men to draw their defender and then create a bit of space like that.
Well, it's interesting that his focus was more on his defence than it was in his offence. I would have thought that it probably needs to be quite balanced because both have been guilty at not being at their best, I would have thought. But, you know, he singled out Fitzpatrick and said, well, look, you're the goalkeeper. I want you to make sure that you've got our defence well positioned at all times, which is fair enough because you've got someone like Marcus Richardson who's getting in behind you.
Well, let's head down now to Angie Ockenden on the sideline.
Well, yes, it was actually very difficult to get into the Northwest huddle. They disappeared into the change room for a bit of privacy so they could talk about it. So I was really listening at in the crack in the door. So I can't tell you exactly what he said, but what Stephen McMullen was saying was he didn't want them to rush. He wanted them to remain composed. He felt in the second half of that half they were starting to rush and their composure was going, particularly in their defensive circle. So he was saying protect your feet, get your tackles on outside the circle, keep tight, but remain composed and remain patient with your tackles. The rest of it, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear because, as I say, they're huddled away trying to get their game together for the next half.
Come on, Angie, you should have been able to break down that door and tell them who you are.
Yes, well, I was thinking of going into the men's change room, but thought better of it, actually.
Well done, Ange.
Thanks very much, Angie. Probably a wise decision in the end there. Ducks and Drakes here, hiding away inside the change rooms.
Well, I think it's part of the other reason would be that Stephen McMullen would want them to really be focused. He'd be trying to remind them about the importance of what they're playing. It's not just a local game, it's a grand final. It's all at stake. And he's probably just had the time where it's a bit out of the wind so he can get his message across and try and get them to be really focused on the next 35 minutes and the job ahead.
Zane, how do you see this second half playing out?
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the midfield. I think from Derwent's point of view, they need to get Austin, they need to get Devon involved, they need to keep getting Nick Tremaine involved and getting him searching forward to look for those strikers up front. But from North West point of view, I think that Warren Lucas has been quite quiet. We saw him have a little bit of an impact early in the game, but he drifted out in that last 10 or 15 minutes. So he's a player that can have a real dominance in the game. He's got a great engine on him, and he'll definitely run all day. And I think that in this second half, we might see that when guys are starting to get tired, that he might have a bit more of an impact in this second half. So, but the other guy up front that Northwest need to keep an eye on is Richard Headlam. And he's quite uncanny and he can create a lot of damage. So for him, he's probably their key striker along with Marcus Richardson to set them up for this second half.
Well, Tremaine just sort of started to play some really clever hockey there. He unleashed Jeffrey Cock on a couple of occasions, just getting towards the back end of that first half. So we see play get underway for the second stanza. Park straight away sends it to Budgeon. Budgeon out wide. Missed there though. It was Peters who should have picked that up. So Newbold goes backwards. Back there is Stewie Webb. He goes across the pitch. Addison.
Good
Addison
ball.
tosses. Well done. Finds Billy Shaw. Shaw knocks it to his advantage. He gets it inside the circle now, and then it's out over the back line.
Well, that's a good sign for Derwent. They had Billy Shaw at right half, pushing all the way forward there. He's looking to overlap and get himself into that free space. It was a very good outlet for Derwent.
So Shaw playing well with Austin there.
Yeah, fraction over clever though. He's looking to make that silly pass on his reverse. He needs to be able to find the target in my eyes.
Webb backwards. Once again, it's Addison. Sends it long. That's Tremaine. Nice little skip over the top. Billy Shaw's again the target. He sends it across field. I don't think any of his teammates knew what he was doing though.
Well, that's a trend at the moment for Derwent to get Billy Shaw involved in the right side. Maybe that was something that Glenn Freeman gave the message to them about as well. Let's get Billy Shaw involved inside the overlap.
Tremaine sends it long to that position where Billy Shaw has been. He's not there now though. That's Middleton. Scored one this afternoon. Freakish one.
Jeffrey Cock and Derwent in a full press here now. Look where Jeffrey Cock is. He's really trying to limit the area of the turf that Northwest grads can use as an outlet.
So Florence.
Good strength from Tim Stephen.
Not happy is Tremaine. He had it blown up against him. And he's got a card, I think.
I don't know what for. Sean Carey would I can imagine if Sean Carey was in that situation. Actually, it's not Nick Tremaine's getting it. It might be Ali Addison. He may well have said something which is... I was surprised that Tim Devan would have got... that Nick Tremaine would have got one there. Ali Addison's obviously done something that Sean Carey has caught sight of.
Bit of lip, perhaps, you would imagine, behind the play.
I would suspect so. Very unlike Zane in his day, Martin, I can tell you. Always very good on the pitch.
Mild-mannered, meek player that he was.
Yes, a little bit soft around the edges, but still.
So Budgeon it is for Northwest Grads. Looking to send it wide, but it was intercepted there. Picking it up now is Jeffrey Cock. He's got plenty of space ahead of him. Only Stevens is there. Jeffrey Cock goes round him. Good control of the ball. Does extremely well. And now he's going to attempt to send it back inside, but...
Well, that was fantastic work from Nick Budgeon, because Nick Budgeon was about 10 yards behind Jeffrey Cock when he got that ball, but he was streaming. He's not even in camera at the moment. Here he comes about now. There he is. So he was working really hard, and we can see Hamish McGregor had to do the really hard work at the moment to try and close down Jeffrey Cock, but Nick Budgeon, he was the one who had to have the foot full on the accelerator to get there.
They kept their cool too, Macca.
Did do well.
So that's Newbold there. He gets us back underway. Sends it across to Webb.
Oh, good receiving there. Well done, Luke Austin. He just rolled off. He knew where he wanted to go.
Sends it to the danger man, Tremaine. Tremaine goes out wide to Alistair Addison. He gets over the centre line and then sends a long pass. And Ingles was there, and if he could have got a stick to that.
You just get the sense, don't you, Martin, this game's probably going to explode soon with a few goals. I can't imagine that it's going to stay the way it is, 1-1 for much longer.
It's exciting stuff. Both teams are really throwing a lot at it at the moment. Derwent seem to be sort of sending a few longer passes and perhaps taking a few more risks at this stage.
Well, I think it's a definite ploy by doing this second half. We've already seen that they're looking to use that spacing behind Northwest and try and really stretch and expose them at the back, which is a really good ploy, Macca, because I think that they can find those Northwest defenders wanting at the back. It's great one-on-one situations, getting behind.
Really test those ones at the back who they might be suspect with speed.
So there's Stevens in midfield. Tried to flick it over the top, but the Derwent players intercepted it. Peters now.
Good work from Peters. He was under pressure then. He had to be composed about what he did.
Used Park. Park used Budgeon. So Budgeon is with it now. As we know, he's got that toss. He doesn't use it in the end, though. Jacobson it is. Jacobson does well. Gets inside. His man.
Good crowd in, Martin. Enjoying the festivities of a grand final.
And that sun is beautiful. Great spring weather for Tasmania. 20 degrees today. Marvellous. There's Addison. It's fallen for Budgeon. Budgeon sends it infield. He goes backwards though. Stevens now. He winds up and sends it along the turf and out.
Well, Northwest Grads again looking to press pretty full on here at the moment. Headlam and Richardson and Toby West all within a close vicinity.
So Newbold it was that sent it across the face of goal. It's been picked up by Addison though. He employs the toss. Only about 30 yards or so.
Yeah, blown for dangerous because basically the defender's allowed to receive the ball and no one should be within 5 yards. And Billy Shaw had encroached then on the Northwest Grads defender as he was receiving the overhead. So if you're unsure as to why that was blown, hopefully I've clarified that.
Addison again. Thank you, Macca.
Always look out to help you, Martin.
You taught me everything I know.
Here's James Peters.
Peters on the attack. He's inside the attacking 25.
Well, good work there from Richard Headlam. He was looking to try and force a penalty corner, but not able to do so.
So it's inside the circle, but a bit of vigour shown from Webb there. He ran over the back of Richardson. It's like a Mack truck hitting a kangaroo.
Yeah, they're good friends. They'll be fine.
So Derwent, dangerous again there.
Yeah, sloppy outletting there. Looking to overuse the overhead in some regards.
Budgeon uses Lucas. Lucas goes long. It's gone back to Budgeon. He's inside the circle, but he's let it go, and Newbold has got it. Ball still loose, plenty of stick there.
Well, that was a good build-up of play, and I think the part I like about the most was the receive of Nick Budgeon. That was a super quick little receive and control on his reverse when it came to when he was attacking the circle.
Budgeon sends it. It's just on the edge of the circle. Northwest Grads couldn't quite get it inside that time. Ball's sent backwards. It's Peters now. Peters winds up. It's inside the circle. Chance here. Could be a shot away. No. Short corner though.
Well, penalty corner, and again, Northwest Grads, you just sense that they've been giving a little bit too much time to make those sorts of passes. Tim Deven, I think, in the end, was the one who hadn't got on the right line, and there you can see the free hit was awarded because Warren Lucas had possession. Stick obstruction, I think it was blown for.
So, I think this would be Northwest Grads' first penalty corner of this half. And Richardson to send it in. Getting difficult to see as that sun gets low. Ball comes in, trapped well. It's Budgeon who will take it, and he's got the shot, and it's in. And Nick Budgeon scores the second for Northwest Grads, and isn't he happy about it?
Well, big Nick Budgeon, and look at the power he's got, and you look at the line that the number one runner out ran then. I think it might have been Jeffrey Cock, but he hasn't run the same line as what Marcus Richardson has. He's enabled the shot to go straight at the net, and then there's been some uncertainty between both Fitzpatrick and Nick Tremaine. He didn't even know where the ball was. So it really had some venom going on it, but maybe Dermot there just guilty of not doing what Marcus Richardson was for Northwest Grads by running straight down the line. So Nick Budgeon, well done.
Well, he's definitely a big, powerful man, Macca, and he's one of the best corner flickers in the competition, and pretty good place to flick the ball too. There's a little bit of confusion. We see Tremaine come forward with the ball now, and he's going to look for a penalty corner, and I think he's got one straight away. So doing straight back in their face, but on that last penalty corner we saw that, you know, Budgeon, a little bit of confusion between the keeper and Nick Tremaine on the post, but great reply here from Derwent. They've come straight back in, and let's see if Jeffrey Cock can turn the table.
Could indeed. Could all amount to being 2-2 in the space of a minute or so.
Well, here's the build-up beforehand, and see the sticks being held there by Michael Park. Now, probably what we won't see it just at the end of this. This is where Nick Tremaine's saying, not only do I want the penalty corner, I want to see Michael Park. I want to see him get a card. That's what he's saying to Ollie Close right now. Ollie Close, where's the card? Why is Michael Park still on the pitch? Don't worry about it, Ollie.
Tremaine awarded the penalty, sends it in. Cock gets the shot away, and it's wide. So a let-off, perhaps. It was flying, that one.
That had a bit on it, that one. That was really moving. Now, good power here, good technique, but it was just wide of the target. And this is the thing that Jeffrey Cock really needs to make sure he finds that right zone in the next 25, 30 minutes. He won't be afforded too many more opportunities, I wouldn't have thought.
So a bit of feeling out there between these two teams at the moment. They've met so many times this season. Northwest Grads with just the one victory over Derwent, if my memory serves me correctly, but that all amounts to nothing today.
Yep, Tim Deven being deliberately held up there, and just a bit of feeling. This is probably good for Tim Deven because he actually plays a little bit better when he gets a bit hot under the collar, a bit like yourself, Eddie, in your day. When you really fired up, that's when you were a quality hockey player, and no different with Tim Deven. I'm sure the light's on now, and he's ready to go.
Addison sends it straight back to Bent.
But you're right, though. He has been missing for most of the game, really, and that bit of break of play that we saw him do there, and that really highlights what the effect on the game he can have, and hopefully he can get more involved because he definitely need that at the moment.
Newbold sends it long. Billy Shaw couldn't keep it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the sign, the worrying sign I would have thought for Derwent is that, you know, people like Jeffrey Cock and certainly Tim Deven have been quiet, and in the biggest game of the year, they need them playing at their best. Still, there's plenty of time to go, and it's not uncustomary for us to see Tim Deven pop up and score 2 goals in a matter of 5 minutes, so he still has got plenty of time to have a big say in this grand final.
So Derwent are in possession. Sent long. Sent to no one, though.
Oh, deliberate trapdoor there by Nick Tremaine. He deliberately let it go forward, but Greg Bent wasn't up to it.
But I guess there's a reason why Northwest have been in 9 grand finals in a row, Macca, and there's a lot of experienced heads out there, and that's the reason why they're playing very well today. You don't get to play in that many grand finals without knowing what you're doing.
So Newbold takes it forward there. He runs into a couple of players from Northwest Grads, including James Peters. So Newbold sends it back to Deven. Deven, nice little drag back on the inside.
A little bit of feeling there too between Warren Lucas and Tim Deven. Just a little bit of a reminder. Tim, I'm marking you, and I'm Warren Lucas.
And we're playing for everything today. It's grand final day.
You just got to hope that Tim Deaver doesn't go too far over the edge. He's one of those figures on the arousal curve, and sometimes he can just go flip right over. Almost manic.
As long as he can control it on the pitch.
I'm sure he'll do that. Again, full press here being employed by Derwent. They won't make it very easy for them to outlet the ball. Nick Budgeon will be looking to try and do the overhead if it's possible.
Doesn't have time for that. So over there now is Ben Florence to bring it back in. That's Greg Bent. Now it's Michael Park. Does well to get around one player. Runs into Austin though.
Good skill from Luke Austin. Just didn't have anyone there to really support him.
So there's Nick Budgeon. Good ball.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Pressure relieving.
Well, it was surprising really that Derwent actually gave Nick Budgeon that option, sort of almost saying to him, yeah, you can have it if you want, but there's a flip side. If we get it, you're going to be in trouble. But they gave him the opportunity and he took it. He had the courage of his convictions.
Tremaine now. Park's on his hammer. Tremaine gets it away though. Good ball. The ball is attempted to be sent back on the inside. It's been picked up by Warren Lucas though.
Well, Derwent look really good when they get that overlap on their right side. Sure, it's something they'll try to build in the next 20 minutes.
West. Back to Lucas. Back to Park now. Park along the ground forward. Luke Austin. James Burke ambushed him.
Good skill again from Austin.
Austin managed to maintain possession through that good skill. Nick Budgeon, nice little touch. Does well, gets it to West. West gets it around Webb, sent on the inside. Couple of players there for Northwest Grads.
Well, I'll tell you what, that wasn't a very tidy tackle at all from Stuart Webb. You wouldn't want to do that too often. It was cleanly eliminated. We talk about clean eliminations by defenders. Well, that was an example of one. Beaten easily and cleanly by Toby West.
Budgeon, nice touch, gets it inside the circle, flicks it back up in front of goal, but Northwest Grads, too many players.
Steve McMullen, the coach at Northwest Grads, he'd be nervous right at this point in time. Sometimes it's good to be up, but with 20 minutes to go, you get a little bit, you start to think too far ahead.
I think you're nervous too, Mac. You're biting your fingernails.
Well, I am.
It's exciting times. There's Billy Shaw. Addison with the toss. It'll be picked up though. Nice control. Well done by Peters. Park now. Jeffrey Cock and Park tangling in midfield.
He nearly had him. I don't know what Jeffrey Cock is complaining about. Clearly hit his foot. He's probably just disappointed that he picked the right way, but didn't get clean possession.
I think he needs to, Jeffrey Cock needs to mix up what he's doing at the moment. Macca, he's become a bit stagnant and he hasn't really had much possession in the last 10 or 15 minutes. So from Derwent's point of view, I think it's time to start to look at changing it up a little bit and putting a few of their players into different positions, because at the moment, 2-1 down, they need to get a couple of quick goals to get back in front, obviously, but with what they're doing at the moment, it's not creating many opportunities. So I think from Cox's point of view, Devon's point of view, maybe switch those two guys around and see what happens.
Well, I'm sure that's probably going through both coaches' mind. We saw a minute ago of just Stephen McMullen there. He was barking out some orders as well, and these are the sorts of things that coaches have to think about the whole time. What else can we do?
Luke Austin sends it downfield. Picked up there by Newbold, who lets it go out. So once again, Derwent in possession. Webb, Austin, Devon.
Good skill. This is where he goes.
Good pace too from Devon. The numbers 1 in the end for Northwest Grads, as Warren Lucas sends a nice ball on the inside. Jacobson outletting well. Burke is there. He's got it inside the circle. Can he get the shot away? No, he can't. It was a nice angle.
We should remember too that Tim Devon won the Hockey South Best and Fairest Award, which was awarded last week, and that was part of a school that we saw. And here's James Burke, desperation. There it was, and the angle just too acute. But good work from Nathan Fitzpatrick, off his line very quickly.
So Luke Austin for Derwent. Sends it back to Addison. Addison uses Webb. Webb goes short to Devon.
I'm just surprised that Tremaine isn't lending himself more with the outletting there. I think rather than knocking the ball around the back, he needs to be presenting himself. He becomes more of a conduit for them to get out of that full press that's sometimes being employed by Northwest grads. He needs to be a target.
Jeffrey Cox moved back to try and get himself more involved. He's got the pill. He's gone around a couple of players already.
Good pace too.
That's Jeffrey Cox there, leading goal scorer. He won that award last weekend. I think he was 3 times his nearest rival, the number of goals he scored this season.
I'm not sure I can even add up to the amount of goals that he got throughout the year. Martin, 50-something.
More fingers and toes than I have. Ball's inside the circle. Chance here. Oh, and it was well done there. It wasn't Stevens, it was Webb, I think, who'd pushed up and managed to get a penalty corner.
Well, good desperation here, and the initial save from Greg Bent, clearly off the foot there of Tim Stevens. Advantage was blown, but you can see full stretch Hamish McGregor on his left glove, but he's put the ball into a dangerous area, and so the umpires awarded a penalty corner to Derwent. This is a really big test now of Hamish McGregor. If this one goes in, tell you what, we're in for a red-hot 17 minutes. The sun will be in the eyes of Hamish McGregor.
Well, a bit of pressure here on Jeff Cock as well. I mean, he hasn't scored any yet in the game. I'm sure Northwest will apply the same tactic with Marcus Richardson running straight down the barrel.
Ball's in. Cox going to take it. And again, Richardson runs him down. He has absolutely stifled Jeffrey Cox this afternoon. And that wouldn't make for a happy man.
Well, and he did remind him too. Marcus Richardson had a little bit of a glare at Jeffrey Cock after you run out. And there it is. He got it off his stick cleanly. And then we just can't see that. But Marcus Richardson just reminded Jeffrey Cock. He said, mate, you're not batting too well today. Your averages aren't too good.
So West for Northwest grads goes backwards to Warren Lucas. Back to West.
I mean, I would have thought that one of the things that they need to be looking at doing now, is they should be thinking about having a double battery to put some uncertainty into the mind of Marcus Richardson. You know, they've got to do something different on their penalty corners. They can't set up the same way. Either do a double battery or, you know, receive it from a different position so that the angle of running out by the number one runner, as in Marcus Richardson, is on a different angle. And they're just doing the same thing time after time. And I really think it's time for them to think about varying that up.
I think it's either going to be that or they've got to take it from the same position but shift the ball straight away. So they're actually shifting it away from the defence.
Nick Tremaine does well, sends the ball out. Good desperation shown there. It was Florence and then cleaned up by Stevens.
Clever little play from Nick Tremaine though. He's got such good vision. He's Nick everywhere at the moment, Nick Tremaine. He's obviously decided that, well, 15 minutes to go. I've got to have more of an impact.
Ball sent in there by Middleton. Burke's been unleashed. He's been stripped of it though. And the ball's gone back and out to Addison. Addison goes long. Austin, the intended target, just couldn't get there.
Well, they've got to be able to find the targets on those ones. I mean, going over the back line's not good enough.
Budgeon.
Vaughan Bowen on for Derwent, number 3. Putting some pressure on James Peters. Good skill there from Tim Devon. Quick acceleration.
It's Devon there. Had a good season. Doesn't amount to much though if you don't win today. Webb at the back for Derwent. Nice little 1-2 to himself. Sends it to Devon. To Tremaine rather. Tremaine goes out wide. It's with Billy Shaw. Again, trying to be clever. Burke shut him down. Ball's inside the circle. It's loose. Looking to pounce. There is Bowen.
Oh, good skill from Tim Devon. Penalty corner. Well done.
So they change it up now, you reckon,
Well,
Macca?
they have to. I mean, Glenn Freeman surely would be barking, and you can see him on the sideline. Well, I can see him anyway, and he's walking himself along the sideline trying to bark out the order. But here's Tim Deven just making sure that he finds the foot of Warren Lucas, and the message has just been given to Stuart Webb. Marcus Richardson decided that he'd run out as well and see if he could hear what Glenn Freeman had to say. It's fair enough. It's within the rules. Who's he talking to here? Sean Carey. Not quite sure. It's Michael Park. Not unusual for Michael Park to have some sort of impact or some sort of dialogue with umpires throughout the games, Eddie.
Noted negotiator.
Yeah, that's the word, noted negotiator. I like that, Martin. Very clever. I like the word stifle before. I tell you what, you're running hot today.
About as hot as the commentary box.
It is warm. Sun.
Nick Tremaine sends it in. There it is. Nice little change up, and it's got plenty of time. And there it is. And it's a wonderful goal. Tremaine scores it in the end.
Great goal, and they needed to mix it up. They needed to have some variation. I'm absolutely certain that Glenn Freeman went up to them and said, look, guys, let's make sure we do something different here. They did it. They employed it relatively well. I was a bit worried there, but he did get the ball to Nick Tremaine, and Nick Tremaine is very good at that role. He's done it for the Tigers. He's done it in the AHL. He's done it in AHL semi-finals, and he's done it in club finals. And he's very good at that. So composed. 2-2. I tell you what, we're running hot now, Zeddy.
Well, I was a little bit lucky here. We see the ball actually deflected. I think it was Michael Park who was the person that came out to present with Jeff Cock. But as you mentioned, Nick Tremaine stayed nice and composed. And here we go, Deven. Deven streaming forward to the circle. He hit this on the reverse. And I tell you what, it was very close. And in the end, a very good shot selection because I was expecting him to just wind up and do something crazy. But he did keep his cool there. And we see here he just jinks the ball up over the keeper. And unfortunately, just went a little bit wide, but you get the feeling now that with Durant drawing back to a level pegging that they really are in the hunt now, and blokes like Deven are going to start to step up, and here he is again.
So Tim Deven, 12 minutes to go, 2-2, grand final. Doesn't get any better than this. Stuart Webb's got it now.
Oh, that was lucky too, because Nick Tremaine was lurking near the penalty spot, and he had no one within 5 yards of him. He wasn't sighted by Stewie Webb. Maybe the Northwest Grads defence had just started to get caught ball watching.
Addison going long. Bowen was there, couldn't control it though. There's Stephen McMullen. He wouldn't be happy about that last goal. Coach of Northwest Grads. Been pretty evenly matched, I would say.
It has been, but I think if you're watching this game and you don't leave your plasma, don't leave your LCD, don't leave your data projector, because at the moment, Tim Deven for the next 4 or 5 minutes, he's going to have a big say. I would have said black and white TV for you, Martin, but I know that you're thinking about changing to colour.
I am. I think it'll be a wise investment. Headlam for Northwest Grads. Uses Lucas. Back to Headlam. Nice little 1-2.
Good tackle. I'll tell you what, that was pretty quick feet there from Tim Deven as well.
Northwest Grads plays it on quickly.
Good work from Park.
Park's inside, getting inside the circle and running across there.
Well, he just bustled his way through there, Michael Park, and it was actually his opponent, Nick Tremaine. We see here he slips that ball inside, and I think it was Richardson that couldn't quite connect there. But Park's got that ability too, Macca, like Tremaine, to search forward and just slip the ball in the little spaces in behind for the strikers.
It reminds me of a wombat, actually, Zeddy, a little bit, Michael Park. My son's been studying wombats and marsupials and all that at school at the moment, but tell you what, the way he burrowed in then, Michael Park, I tell you what, he has a crack, and he's doing his role at the moment.
With Nick Budgeon at the back for Derwent. Sent long now.
Good work from Middleton. Held up Jacobson there. He needed to do it, and he did it well.
Tremaine now.
Good drag.
Does well, gets it back on the inside.
I mean, that's some classic skill, that. The ability to be able to drag the ball right to left one-handed, you know, that's an exceptional skill. So people there watching it, they're getting their money's worth.
Great day too, really. That wind's a bit nasty when it picks up, but beautiful conditions as Middleton attempts to get inside the circle, and I don't think he's quite... Anyway, it's Northwest Grads.
Yeah, well, I think you'll find that the ball came off his foot, but it may also have been blown for obstruction as well, because he got the ball behind him a little bit too far. Good pass there from James Newbold. Tempo's picked up, which is normally the case when a goal's been converted.
Deven now in midfield.
He's got Warren Lucas on him. That's a great matchup, that one.
Sends it forward to Jeffrey Cock. Jeffrey Cock's over the 25-yard line. He's got the ball out in front of him. He spins it back on the inside.
Skill.
And well done, Nick Budgeon, I think it was, that gave that one away. So Jeffrey Cock would be happy with himself, starting to have an impact.
That's the one thing that I've really wanted to see Jeffrey Cock improve in this year, and he's demonstrating it now. Just the composure at the very end. You know, taking back 12 months, maybe 2 years ago, he'd be turned over there. But Jeffrey Cock now, he's becoming an accomplished striker. His ability to be composed and force a penalty corner. Tell you what, well done, Jeffrey Cock.
We sort of set it up to Mac with that first play. He received it on the 25 and he threw a little dummy in there on Tim Stevens and wrong-footed him, and that gave him the space to run for. And then once he had the space, everything opened up, and he was just, as you said, good composure coming into the circle, didn't panic, slipped it back in, and now he's got the chance to take them into the lead.
So that's Nick Tremaine. He'll be bringing it in, sends it in. Trapped there, it's going to be Jeffrey Cock. He sends it to Tremaine, and there it goes. Tremaine gets his second. And Derwent have taken the lead for the first time this afternoon.
Well, Nick Tremaine, he's so good at this skill, and it's almost as if it's like a miss-hit, because the ball initially goes high, but it sort of loops over the goalkeeper. There's not much that Hamish McGregor can do, and then Tim Stevens has to dive to try and get to it, and there's a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a loop, and the ball takes a deflection. I think it might have been an own goal off Tim Stevens, but there's really not a great deal that he can do. I think, no, Dougal Middleton's right there, and he's right there. So Dougal Middleton, the young fella, he's got 2 goals in a grand final.
Well, it was good skill, as you say there, from Tremaine Mackie, because the ruling on that shot is you can't actually sweep the ball first time up into the net, so the ball has to stay backboard height unless it's a deflection. So good skill execution there by Nick Tremaine.
Tell you what, the tempo is fast now. Oh, good save.
And there it is, the equaliser. It's West, Toby West. Things are all wrapped up in the grand final. 3-3. You can't look away, Macca.
No, you can't. Well, it was a really good vision there from James Peters, and a quality pass, because what he did is he made really good deflection. There's Toby West. The first save was a great save from Nathan Fitzpatrick. If anything, the thing he was guilty of was that he saved it, but he didn't clear it at the same time. Maybe I'm being hard on him. Yes, I probably am. But at the same time, you know, that's the job of goalkeepers. You've got to be able to, in big games, not only make the save, but you've got to clear it away from the traffic. And whilst we've been talking about that, there's been a bit of a collision. It's Michael Park, I think it is. It's been on the receiving end. Here's the replay of this footage, and there it is there. So just a bit of a collision with Jeffrey Cock, and then Jeffrey Cock decides to go on with it a little bit. And I don't think a card was awarded there. Might have been a little bit of a talking to by umpire Ollie Close. He's getting in control, don't worry. Michael Park's going for a bit of a break. There might be some claret.
It'll be interesting to see how both teams play out these last 7 minutes, because you get the feeling that the game really has opened up, and we see here Jeff Cock on the ball, drags it, good drag inside, but another good tackle by Budgeon.
Budgeon did very well there. He just poked it away from him. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Under pressure too.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we sort of said about half-time. The message for Northwest grads is they need to make sure that they're really on top of their tackling. Their tackling has to be the best it possibly can in the defensive zones.
So Timmy Deven sends it back for Derwent.
Good overlap.
6 minutes to play. Grand final, 3 goals all. Which team will stand up?
Middleton again. He's busy. He's the one who's giving us some penetration at the moment. Saw him do that at the under-18 nationals throughout the year.
Tremaine trundles over to take this one. He's got ahead of him Graham Brennan, who's come on to replace Park.
Well, you could see there the penalty call was awarded, but you could see there before Tremaine took the pass, he told Billy Shaw, stand in the front row, make it hard for the defence, and I'll slap it straight onto his foot, and that's what he does. We see here, good work by Nick Tremaine, slaps it inside, ball hits the foot, and now they've got another chance.
Real opportunity. About 5 minutes to play by the time this one's taken. So the Derwent boys discussing tactics there, which way we're going to go.
Well, if this one goes in, it'll be interesting to see what Stephen McMullen does. I suppose, I mean, let's wait and see what happens, but if this was to be converted, I wonder whether or not Stephen McMullen would leave Hamish McGregor in the net and or replace him with a strike forward.
Tremaine sends it in. It's trapped. It's going to be Jeffrey Cock. Takes it, and he's got it. There's the winner, perhaps. at this stage.
Well, that ball was absolutely flung from the baseline really, really quickly by Nick Tremaine. He really flung that ball out. He gave Jeffrey Cock the time. Look, see, Marcus Richardson's about a yard or maybe even a metre different from where he was in previous positions. He couldn't get to the line, so that one was absolutely roasted from the baseline, which gave Jeffrey Cock the time, and really his placement there was spot on. And they're the ones that are really difficult to save. And you can see Nick Budgeon, number 7 on the right post, he even couldn't see it. So, tell you what, it's all happening at the moment, and Derwent looked like they could be the one who could come with 3 peats, as you call it.
A 3-peat, as I like to call it, yes indeed. 3 premierships in a row. There's a nervous Stephen McMullen, Northwest Grads coach.
Well, what's he going to do? Is he going to leave, and how long will he leave Hamish McGregor on the pitch? And if he does, he's got to make sure, in my eyes, that he puts a forward on, not a defender.
So Addison, outletting, uses the toss. Burke picks it up. Taps it forward. Nice turn there from Jacobson. Sends it long. Sends it to West.
Well, Northwest really need to stay composed here and keep possession of the ball. And one thing they haven't done lately in this latter part of the game is get their front 3 involved. They just haven't been able to get the midfield to get through the front 3.
Well, the message now for Northwest Grads is they've got to get the ball because they can't leave the ball stay in the corner. Derwent will be quite happy to play the ball short here in this little corner and play games, keep things off. I'll keep it off. And all they're trying to do now is burn the clock. And so you'll find that Jeffrey Cock he'll just happy to keep it there for the next 3.5 minutes. So Northwest Grads have got to get someone in there.
So Jeffrey Cock slowing things down, goes backwards. It's Billy Shaw. No, it isn't. It's Addison. Addison knocks it long. It'll go out. So Northwest Grads with an opportunity now to rebuild. Nick Budgeon it is. Will he toss it long or will they construct something?
Well, out of screen, we've got 2 very high forwards now from Northwest Grads. We've got Marcus Richardson and Richard Headlam, who are being marked by Webb and I think it's James Newbold. Here it is, Richardson.
He's picked up the ball, Richardson. Attempts to get around Webb. Webb gets the better of him, though, that time. Nice little ball back on the inside. It'll be picked up by Austin. Austin leaves it for Tremaine. Tremaine tangling there with Jacobson.
He's happy to break the play. He's happy to slow it down a little bit. There you can see Glenn Freeman, the coach of Derwent.
Still barking instructions.
Yeah, well, this is the real nervous time now. You think you've almost got it. So they have taken the goalkeeper off. I think it's a smart move from Northwest Grads.
2.5 minutes to go now. Northwest Grads, no keeper. An extra man in attack.
Well, I think they've structured up properly. They've probably learnt their lesson from the last time they did it. They've got an extra player inside the attacking circle.
Looks like it's Graham Brennan who's come on.
As you can see, there's no goalkeeper there. As good as if you were in the net, Martin, at the moment.
I think you'd be better off with no one there, wouldn't you? Stevens. That was Peters, rather. Lucas now. Stolen.
You better be careful, Tim Deven. You better not go too far over that arousal curve, Martin.
No, I think he was foxing there, Macca. He knew damn well that the whistle had been blown, but he continued on.
So Park there, holding his hand up, saying, "Come on, boys."
This is where you need a Martin Williams singing out from the sidelines, Zeddy. Barking out the orders, the manager.
That's Lucas there. It's inside the circle, but it's been picked up by Derwent. Jeffrey Cock again. Blows the penalty. Miss hit from Park. He won't be happy. He stays down on his knees. The ball comes to the other end of the ground. Derwent bench happy with that. Still a minute and 10 seconds or so to play.
Glenn Freeman is a nervous wreck at the moment. Tell you what, the heart rate's going well above 160.
Up around 200, I would have thought.
I would have thought so.
Peters now for Derwent, for Northwest Grads even.
Oh, that hurts.
And he's found Jeffrey Cock's hand.
That could be the end. Jeffrey Cock, if he gets the ball here, here's the ball, and unfortunately for Jeffrey Cock, trapped by his hand. Certainly not intentional there from James Peters, just a miss-hit.
Tremaine foxing a bit himself, not wanting to play on nice and quickly.
Going the wrong way.
Going the wrong way indeed. Nice work there from Deven. Still going well. Playing keepings off now. Deven showing great skill, not letting anyone near it. He's got 3 Northwest Grads players right around him, and they can't touch it. And that would be the three-peat, Macca. Full-time, Derwent win, 4-3.
Well, an amazing grand final, and Tim Deaven, we said during the call that he's being quiet, but he only needs about 15 minutes or 10 minutes where he has a big impact on the game, and before you know it, he just explodes. So, I mean, he's been a real catalyst for them. And Nick Tremaine, fantastic in the middle, and as you said, 3 premierships in a row. It's rarely done, and full congratulations to Derwent. Full congratulations to the coach, Glenn Freeman. I think he actually did a very good job today in changing and mixing up what they did on their penalty corners, and the elation, well, it's pretty obvious.
Well, they didn't end up taking the lead until I think it was about the 27th minute of the second half. So that's how long it took Derwent to get in front, and they did it.
Well, we spoke about elation. Well, there we saw the consolation, and unfortunately for Marcus Richardson, and he's obviously distraught, and there he is. He's been a real catalyst for the performance of Northwest grads over many years and the premierships they've won, but unfortunately for him today, just not good enough. And, well, great to see that Derwent have done well.
So thanks very much, Zane, for joining us in commentary for the grand finals. It's very much appreciated. But for now, let's head down to Angie Ockenden on the ground.
Tim Deaven, congratulations, 3rd grand final in a row. Got to be pretty pleased with that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that was an unbelievable game. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm exhausted.
It certainly was really tight, and Derwent, eventually you came over over the top, but certainly Northwest had your measure in the early minutes.
Oh, definitely. They were all over us at the start of the game, and now we managed to peg our way back, and it was a good game for the crowd to watch, I bet. I love it.
The crowd did love it, and the crowd always loves you, Tim. You always have something spectacular to do. Of course, you've had a fantastic season, and congratulations on your best and fairest this year.
Thank you very much, and let's just hope Honeybell back it up today. Good luck, boys. Cheers.
Tim, and what's for you next year?
Same again, Derwent, and hopefully we'll have Paul Anker back again, so that'll even strengthen our team even more. So hopefully we can get back to the originals in the Galacticos, and push for hopefully a 4th. So that'd be sensational.
Well, we really enjoy watching you two teams play. Congratulations on a fantastic season for yourself. I know you're travelling overseas with the AIS development team, so best of luck for that for you. And we'll look forward with a great deal of pleasure to watch you next year.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ange.
Well done.
Thanks very much, Angie. Let's have a look at some of the statistics from the grand final. As we said, Derwent, 4-3, 3 premierships in a row, and more possession, Macca.
Well, more possession and more shots on goal. But the interesting one was that they had 9 penalty corners to only 3 of Northwest grads, but they were able to convert 33% of those, if my maths is any good, Martin. And they got on top, and only it took them a while. They were very tough first half, but gradually they fought their way into it. Tim Deaven, Nick Tremaine, I tell you what, they really are premiership players.
There was a couple of really good passages of play there, particularly from Tremaine. I mean, getting Jeffrey Cock in position. As we take a look at some of the highlights, that was the first goal, and it was Headlam. That was Budgeon's goal.
And, I mean, this is the surprise there. I reckon that was good coaching there from Glenn Freeman, because he was the one who decided that they had to have a bit of variety. They had to change the angle, because Marcus Richardson was so effective in running down number 1 on the penalty corners. And so then it gave them the opportunity. There it was again. They employed a different opportunity. But by now, Jeffrey Cock was saying, well, I haven't had a part of this. I haven't scored a goal today, which is very unusual for him. And so he really stepped up. And that was the equaliser. That was the one that happened pretty much straight away. And we thought, well, hang on, we're in for a real cracker here. Are we heading towards extra time? And as we said, Jeffrey Cock, here he is. He decides to have a big play in the grand final as well, and them winning a premiership. So really, well done to Derwent.
That last goal from Jeffrey Cock was an absolute cracker. It was just steaming in.
Well, it was, and it was really well built by Nick Tremaine as well, because he really got the ball quickly off the baseline.
Well, that's just about it from us here. Thanks very much for staying with us in season 2008. We hope to see you again next year. Thanks, Macca.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you again.